So now we've discussed how Vata gets out of balance and symptoms of Vata diseases in the energetic body, in the physical body, and then when it actually manifests internally into a disease. So now let's discuss Pitta. So again, we are all susceptible to any of these imbalances, regardless of what your prakriti, your main dosha is, because our doshas are always changing, and that is our vikriti, and that is what's going on today. So a Pitta imbalance, how do they start? What do they feel like? And how do we know if we suffer from one? So let me explain first with the outside, the energetic feeling of having a Pitta imbalance. So have you ever just felt irritated? Like you're just in a mood that you just kind of just feel pissy, like you just want to fight with someone. Everything is just sort of ticking you off. You might just like get this feeling of rage. You might snap at someone and not mean to. Like just that feeling of impatience and agitation is a sign of a Pitta imbalance in your outside kosha, your outside energetic field. So Pitta imbalances tend to happen most in the heat. They've done studies that show that murder and crime levels are actually the highest in the summer because people's Pittas just are out of balance and they don't realize it, but they're feeling that anger and that rage, and that's actually related to their Pittas being off balance. So if you've ever been like really hot and agitated and you feel like it's interconnected, it is true, that is interconnected. That is your Pitta being off balance. So agitation, impatience, anger, all of those emotions are signs that your Pitta is off balance. So pay attention to that. It might be, you're in a hot place, or you've been eating a lot of warm, spicy foods, a lot of coffee, a lot of stimulants, chocolate. All of those things are going to make your Pitta off balance, as well as tomatoes, nightshade vegetables, which are like eggplants and zucchinis and things like that, actually can throw your Pitta off balance. Doesn't necessarily mean that it will. Some people are fine, but in case you're feeling those imbalances and it's not really feeling like you, check your diet and make sure it's not too high in Pitta, too heaty. So what happens next after this emotional thing going on? Well, we start to feel it physically. So physically with Pitta, you actually feel hot. You feel red. You might notice some redness in your skin, rosacea, rashing. That's all Pitta. You might start feeling just you're sweating a lot. Your sweat has a worse smell than it used to have. Like our sweat is always telling us what's going on in our body. So if you're noticing that your sweat has a very pungent and foul odor, that's actually a sign that your Pitta is off balance. There's some sort of toxicity in the Pitta related fields going on inside of you. So what happens next in our digestive system? Well, when Pitta is too high and we have too much fire in our digestive system, that makes us acidic. It makes us secrete too much acid. So we eat something and suddenly we're feeling heartburn. We're feeling like our esophagus is like really burning. If you've ever felt that acidic feeling inside of you, that's a sign that your Pitta is off balance, okay? So heartburn, hyperacidity, and again, the redness, the heat, anything like that. In your skin, acne, pimples, excess oil production, that is all Pitta related. If you notice you eat something and you break out, it might be nightshade vegetables. It might be something too heaty. That's your Pitta going off balance right there. So if you're someone who's always breaking out all the time, that's your Pitta right there that you need to pacify. So what happens next after we start that acne, that digestive thing? How does it get worse? So what happens next is that when we have too much acidity in our stomachs, we begin to actually create holes in our stomachs, which sounds really crazy, but that's what ulcers are. So if you've ever had an ulcer, you would know it's like an extreme feeling of pain, and it's actually your acid rupturing a hole in your stomach. So ulcers, esophagus spasms, some people experience, they eat something and suddenly it's like they feel these spasms and it's very hard to breathe. That's a sign that your Pitta is very out of balance. So after all of that happens, with too much esophagus, with too much acid and too much esophagus spasms, you are very susceptible to any acid-related disease. Some people have to get surgeries for it. Some people, they have to completely change their diet and forever just eat very, very bland foods because everything throws them off. So I know Pittas, they're all about flavor, they're all about food, but in order to prevent that from happening, you don't want to get those ulcers and those holes in your stomach. So what you really have to do is pacify that Pitta. more cooling things, more cleansing things, more detoxifying things. So Pitta is in charge of all transformation in the body. So that's why it's very important for people high in Pitta to eat a non-GMO, very clean diet, because they are the most susceptible to the toxicity. So if you're noticing you're sweating a lot, acne, all of that, make sure, am I eating organic? Am I eating cleansing? Am I eating any packaged foods? Are there weird hidden ingredients in the foods I'm eating? Read the labels of everything, and I promise you're going to find some very surprising stuff. If you buy your almond milk and you see carrageenan in there, check it out. If you're buying protein powders or protein bars and you're seeing soy protein isolate or even whey protein, check it out. You don't want to be eating these foods that your body cannot recognize, because when your body doesn't recognize it, how is it going to assimilate and digest it? So really think, has my grandma heard of this food? If not, don't eat it. It's not going to do you good. Try to eat as natural and as cooling and cleansing as possible. So cooling foods are lots of vegetables, leafy greens, fruits, salads, smoothies. In Ayurveda, traditionally, they don't recommend the raw foods because of the bacteria in the soil in India, but here it's fine. You can definitely eat raw foods. Salads might be really good for you. Smoothies could be really good for you, as long as your digestive system can handle it. So if you're feeling really bloated and like sick, there might be some vata or kapha going on in there too. But if you have a smoothie and salad and you feel really great and you feel like it's working for you, that's a good thing, and that's going to help your pitta imbalance. So really cool it out. Mint tea, coconut water, cucumbers, celery. All of these things have really cooling properties on the body. Stay away from coffee, chocolate, spicy foods, pungent foods. All of these things are going to increase your heat, make you more susceptible to those acid-related diseases. So that just goes to show that the energetics of your food plays a huge role in the diseases going on in your body because of that dis-ease going on right there. And you can feel it first mentally before it manifests physically.